This time, if you remove your hats, you'll have the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather today to conduct the town's business, give us wisdom, give us strength, give us guidance to do the right things for all our citizens in the town of Wilson's Mills. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We'll now have the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'll ask for a motion of approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Councilman David McGowan has made a motion. I hear a second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Johnny Easton. All in favor? Ayes have it. Approval of the minutes for December 17th. I'd like to make a comment here. I watched the town hall on, what do you call it? YouTube. All right. I will say that it was pretty interesting, but anybody who was speaking in the background, you could hear every word they said. So that lets us know if we don't have something to say, we need to shh, because it's being recorded and can be seen. But it was quite interesting to do that. My first opportunity. Do I hear a motion about the minutes?
I will note, Mayor, if you don't mind, on the first page, there were some mistakes on the names of Mayor Pro Tem J.C. Triplett and Philip Wright, so I have corrected those. If anybody knows. Under the approval of the agenda, those have been corrected.
Any other additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion, we accept as written with the.
We have a motion by Councilman J.C. Triplett to accept the minutes. I hear a second.
Second.
Councilman Philip Wright, second. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We'll move forward. Public hearing. Amendments to the zoning ordinance for J Farms LLC via Jim Fry.
Yeah, it's good, folks. You got the charts.
Well, what we've got is this parcel is because I know y'all probably have the materials, is basically a utility type building.
You can take his name and address for the record.
Oh, yeah.
Bob Spence, I represent J Farms, and I'm with Jim Fry here, and I'm an attorney, so he asked me to speak. And I prepared this from the planning board, so I'm just trying to explain. We were asked to be rezoned from an R30 into an R40 because it will allow us to do nursery and broader, a little more agricultural type uses. And you can see that this is a farm that's been developed by their sister corporation, and that farm, that subdivision down there, since they bought into it, they tried to substantially upgrade it. It's got a lot of double wide and modulars in there. They try to do it upgrade. One thing to do is really get the landscaping better and the appearance better from the outside. And it takes plants and it takes equipment. Okay, so a lot of that has been helped from here. They've also got a lot of farmland. You see that all of this is wooded. All this is their land back here. You can see it here on Broderick where the subdivision is down here. All of this and now this down here is their land. So it's very consistent with the actual use in the area. I try to make it even easier to see. I tried to do another plat. You can see where they are. Okay, this is their subdivision they developed down here. You can see what all that is, which is R30, but it's really agricultural. And here's R40. Again, we want to be able to put in nursery type products, which are permitted uses in the R40. That's why we're asking. Don't want to do anything wrong. They unlisted this out here. So, it's a lot of. Here's one more that's blown up in the immediate area, even closer. And I know y'all know what's better than I do. You may know this area well, not need to see it. try not to have assumptions. You know, that's all woods over there. And you know that this is sort of agricultural. And we want the zoning, consistent with being able to put, agricultural and nursery products in there and those uses. And that is permitted use in R40, not permitted use under the, existing R30. And the R30 is a zone, and you say, Leanne, is conducive to a subdivision, or closer to residential development. So it's nice to have it classified like that. But frankly, with this, I think we wanted to get an agricultural, horticultural, greenhouse products for all this upgrading. That's what we want in that building. Okay? Anybody got any questions?
Could you,
Just a minute. Let's do the questions first, then you may speak.
could you go back a couple? I want to see the property immediately to the north across the street. What is that zone?
We're about,
Directly,
this is R30.
okay, that's all R3, directly north.
It
Okay,
permits low density housing, you
so
know.
you got R30 all the way around, except for R10 down there.
Yeah, and you've even got this at R30, and I'm sure that people would like it developed in the subdivision, but it isn't. Not yet.
Okay.
And so we want to be able to manage that and to manage, upgrading this, okay? And,
Yeah, you guys have probably already been through Johnson Park maybe at one time or another and kind of seen what it was a few years ago and what it is today. There's
Is that
Quite an
definitely
improvement.
quite an improvement, I would say.
Is that yours also?
Yes.
Yeah,
R10 is Johnson Farm.
Yeah, I drive through there once a month at least, and I'm just amazed.
Yeah,
I
mean,
got
we're-
here towards
we're
the end, yeah.
We're kind of still continuing to develop it, make it better.
to do that economically, we need agricultural products, we need to be able to store them, we need equipment, we need to put them there. And you can see what they've done.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone else wish to speak about this piece of property?
Yes,
Please come forward and state your name.
my name is Gerald Sampson. I live on Jones Road. The reason why I'm saying this, why I want to speak to the board now about, that they're bringing this thing in here, residential. It's a residential area. They're gonna bring this in here. That's, making it, that's gonna change the zone to what they call it,
R40,
R40.
residential 40.
Right, but see, that's gonna mess us up.
Won't affect you at all.
It won't affect us.
No,
No, they need to do that to build an additional building and.
Okay, what about the water line, the water stuff coming through there? That's gonna mess us up on that?
No, sir. Will
No,
not.
no changes to the water system whatsoever.
we're on well.
Okay,
Y'all on well water system?
Yes, we are. We would like to have got on sewer,
Well, I know they said they couldn't bring it through
but
there.
it couldn't be.
They don't want to mess up houses, they got all these houses. now.
I know they want to mess with how they got them out, because
But
it's hot stuck in lane.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
I'm
could
born
not
and raised
do
here
that.
myself, you know what I mean? But, like you said right here, that's like Lord Junior trying to come in with all this mess too. See, but all that's not gonna change, it's not change. I'm saying the road come through here, man, like, Jones Road right here.
Yep. Where
Okay.
are you?
I'm red. Wait a minute, find me now.
Across
Let's
the
see,
street.
I'm red. I'm up in here.
Oh, okay.
I'm right in there, that trailer right in
You're
there.
not, it's down here, and you're not gonna know the difference.
I'm not gonna notice the difference here.
You just see another building out there, you've seen a building that
Well,
way.
that's what I'm saying. Don't that make it different if you put a building, commercial,
No,
and
it's just, they're gonna just put a building up there, behind this land. Just, it's not like.
it's not gonna bother, it's not gonna change.
Trust.
No, not gonna bring,
I'm ready to go
not
home
gonna bring in
then.
traffic.
As long as you don't do that, I'm good. I'm ready
Don't
to go
you
home.
have a lot right next to, Lorraine Bridges have a lot right next to you?
Yeah, Lorraine lands right beside ours.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, but I'm just saying that, I want to change my zone, but I'm through now. I'm ready to go. You ready to go? Oh, you gonna change mine? I'm ready.
Well, I appreciate you coming out. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm on with
Thank
you. And he's ready to
Let me, take your hand since you're a neighbor.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'll be seeing you right after you.
Okay.
I cut grass. I'm gonna be cutting that grass in your lawn.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but everything's better.
I live here, okay, this is my, right?
I'll have to
So,
say.
is that they wanna extend it to the
All they're
trees?
gonna do, no. Is this lot back here?
What's your header name?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay.
State
You need to
state your name and
so
your,
they can get
Oh,
the record.
Silvana Shockey,
They wanna build another.
and I live in 101 Shireen Road.
Okay.
I bought this house, so I can see it better here. Than here.
See this map? That's their way down here,
Okay.
your way over here, okay?
Yes.
So they wanna put another building back in there.
Okay, they were telling me that they're working with the internet or something like this, and they wanna put another building there.
Yeah. It's not an internet building.
No, yeah, well, that's what they're saying, they're
No,
working, they're working there on computers and stuff.
No, they're working on,
But then they were lying to me, okay?
Somebody can tell you the
Somebody-
truth.
somebody
Okay, but I did talk to the people who worked there. So, okay, they do not extend the road down to
No,
the woods.
not yet. The way the traffic was out here this afternoon,
Well-
maybe extended.
No, but it
something.
doesn't go past the end down there. where You saw the cattle.
So it's gonna
guard.
stay at that
It
end or
stays at that
something
end.
like this.
You're good.
Yeah, well, since I'm up here, because I say, it is 45 miles an hour, I think 45 miles, you can go 55 and 70. And in this little road where we're living at, you can go 45. I think 35 would have been good enough too, because they all speed anyway, you know? I
It's
mean,
not as bad as Germany.
I know, I mean, I love to speed, but not, yeah, that's what I wanted to say, if they,
That's another issue you could bring up at another time.
okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? I'm excited somebody wants to enlarge it to R30 or 40 instead of wanting R6 and 10.
I had a question about this,
Yes, sir.
John Jenkins, 525 Jones Road.
Come right to the
In
podium, John.
Is it just this section 1 that you got on here?
Yes.
Is all that pertains to?
Yes, sir.
My next one was, I guess taxes want to take that as far as what you change that to. I think you already answered to what use, but you did say you want to build another building there.
Yes.
Okay. And it's, so it can be a nursery or whatever, that was the
Right.
main thing. I don't really have a problem with it. I live right across the street from y'all, so,
You're in the White House.
yeah. Mhm.
All right.
Well, not the White House.
Well, I mean, I call it the White
The
House.
White House.
Right, are you?
And just other thing is, it'd be nice if we'd had this, meeting like this like 5 or 6 years ago before they built it, because it doesn't bother me. I don't ever plan to sell it, but if I leave it to my niece or whatever, she wants to sell it in the future, then it's gonna hurt the property value with it being, like a commercial or warehouse across from it with a chain link fence in front of it instead of residential. So that's all I have to say.
John, let me have a phone number for you before I forget it.
919-810-3030.
Deal.
Already.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Not out here, motion that we change the planning board recommended to do this. So it's up to the council now to make that decision to make it happen.
Make a motion.
Mayor, I'm sorry, Mayor, if Dad has a moment, there were some changes probably since you guys have seen a rezoning request before you. And so there's just a few, there's like an official statement that needs to be stated now to be in compliance with North Carolina statutes.
Yeah, basically it's 168, 383, and that basically states that if there is going to be, a change like this, if you're changing any zoning regulations, it needs to be a statement that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan and explain why the action taken is reasonable and in the public interest. And there's some other scenarios for if you're not approving it or whatnot, but basically there needs to be one of these. It's for transparency purposes so that everyone knows if it's being approved or not approved, and that a statement by one of the council members explaining that it, that it is reasonable and it's in the public interest.
Do we have a copy of that?
She might have.
Is this the same one that you have? No. I mean,
She made some
if
copies
it's gotta be,
earlier.
if it's gotta be stated like that, we need a copy to it.
She made some copies earlier. I thought we had them on here. Sorry.
Yeah, particularly like the pond work that you've done back there.
Thank
To the pier.
Thank you.
Amazing. I remember when I first got here, only 3 years ago, former Chief Nichols was showing me the drug house back there, and I remember it's just an absolute disaster. It's 110% better.
Yeah, we put fingerlings in there.
Yeah, I heard.
So it'll be another couple years before everybody can fish, but
Yeah,
they'll,
I heard you drained it. and
yeah, we drained the whole thing.
It was an excellent job.
Oh, wow.
I'm just asking for the one so that we can read it as it's gotta be read. It's gotta be read like this in its entirety.
Well, it's one of the, basically, there's three different options. And if the board was going to go ahead and approve it, then it would do one and explain the things in one. You don't need to do the other two. Number two would be if it was rejecting the amendment. And number three would be a situation where there's some change to it.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of special.
I'd like to propose one, so what do I read? I'm gonna make a motion.
Well, you can read one and basically state the things in it. And then if you were to read that and then someone seconds it, I believe that would pass the muster. What we're trying to do.
That doesn't seem like something you'd read. It says comprehensive plan and explaining why the action taken is.
That's close.
All right, let me try this. Let's see how it works out, okay? If it needs to be changed, we'll wing it, okay? All right, I make a motion that we approve this amendment that's going to allow the proposed use that is consistent with the goals of the town R40 districts, namely allowing low-density residential development to encourage the continuance of agricultural use of the land and to encourage the, quote, continued use of farming in harmony with the land accessibility to major activity centers and transportation systems, end quote. Second.
Motion is made
He had the easy job.
by Councilman David McGowan and seconded by Councilman Randy Jernigan to approve the amendment to change the restriction from R30 to R40 for your residential, for your nursery.
Thank
you. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. You gonna leave too?
Before you,
Unless you
Wait a
got
minute, hold on.
Yes.
Hold on a second, gentlemen.
Before y'all leave,
Yes, sir.
before we get through, I'd like to, ask you about the section between Johnson Farm and Clearwater. I know I was in, last
Yeah, on
week.
Forest Isle?
Huh?
On
You on
Forest Isle? Okay,
I know that's not in town limits.
right.
Are you considering annexing that in?
We were approached by that a few years ago, and it kind of just never went anywhere. I guess we could bring it up the ladder again. I don't know that we would be opposed to it. The thing, there's actually that short street, I'll call it a short street. There's
I think
actually,
it's about 9 blocks in there that y'all own.
maybe, but some of those are not buildable. We just built 2 new homes on that
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
I saw those.
I
That's
don't,
what made me start thinking about it.
right, I mean, we can't seem to get Smithfield to do any road repair.
Smithfield.
Yeah, because that's actually, I think in Smithfield, isn't it?
No, sir.
No, sir. That belongs to Johnson Farm, that street does.
The
Never
street
been
does?
Never been dedicated to the town.
I'll be darned. Well, somebody told me back in the day that that street was Smithfield,
No,
and Smithfield had to maintain it.
It's a Smithfield address, yeah, but.
No, I know that, but it is Johnson Farms.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I don't think we're gonna have any problem if that's what if that's what you'd like. I think somebody just we need to have probably a little talk about that.
I feel like that area there needs to be in conjunction with Johnson Farm since it's in town limits and Clearwater's in town limits. Do what?
Well, you asked me if I had a card. I don't, but I'll give him my phone number and call me and let's see how we. Do you remember that, Leanne, back years ago, somebody asked us if we would annex it or do
Yeah, I
something?
remember somebody talking about wanting to annex it, but the street would be considered a private road, so it would be, the responsibility of the street would be on the developer.
On us,
Right, would be used, so, because it's not even a state maintained,
okay.
but that's not in our town limits, so it can't be our
It
street.
just can't be your street if we annex
If
it,
you
right?
annexed it, then you could petition us to take the street
All
over.
right. Well, let me give you my phone number. It's 919-349-4969. And just, maybe we could You know, I'm down here quite a bit. Maybe I can come down here or something and we can talk about, I don't know what's involved to do that.
One thing, what you're talking about, it's not a cut and dry thing, if I'm not mistaken. In order for us at some point in time to take it over, since it's your street, we have to have it surveyed. It has to meet our requirements.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, you have to bring that up to our standard before we'll accept it. Because after it's all said and done, any repairs that have to be made by the town,
Okay.
if it's annexed in. So we want to make sure it meets
It's
the
right
standard.
ahead of time. Okay. All right. Well, let's try and figure that out. I mean, I just remember somebody calling me saying, do you want to annex this thing? And I said, yeah, I'll talk to you about it. And then it just dropped. Nobody ever followed up with me. At least I don't
I hope you
recall it.
followed up. We'd love to have that in there.
If you bring that road up to our specifications, it will add value to your property when the
Sure.
town
Right,
annexes it.
exactly.
We'll follow up on that.
Okay.
Annexation of property,
All right.
and then we'll get the creek, see
Okay.
what we can do with that.
All right.
Taking
Sounds
it over.
good. Okay. Sounds
That
good. Yep.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thanks for coming
All
out.
right, man, I'm
Thank
sure
you,
what the
guys.
attorney said
Very
about it.
much. I got these. too. You grab them. Thank you all very much for hearing us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
You too.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
At this time, we'll open the open forum. Anyone like to address the town regarding any issue?
Just for a minute, I promise.
Come forward, please, and state your name and address.
My name is Christina Peterson, and I'm here representing the Partnership for Children of Johnston County. I live in Clayton, work in Selma, but represent the county. We recently received some grant funds to increase public awareness of the issues facing Johnston County infants, toddlers, their families, and their educators. And we are going to be offering, it's called a Think Babies bus tour, and we are inviting all local leaders, as well as Board of Education, county commissioners, and anyone in the public who is interested in this topic and willing and wanting to participate to join us on these bus tours. There will be two. One will be February 21st, and the second will be on March 14th. And I have personal invitations for each of you that I'll just leave with Leanna. She can make sure that you get them. It's a bus tour that will start at the community college with their childcare program, and we'll be visiting different stops along the way. It will be from about 8 in the morning until noon. Lunch will be provided, but along each stop, you'll have the opportunity to interact with parents, service providers, and childcare providers to just hear about the state of childcare in Johnston County and the issues that are facing infants, toddlers, and their families. So this is your formal invitation.
Thank you for what you do. Anybody else have any questions?
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Well, I did read of the speed limit 45, Johnson, down Johnson, Jones Road, down Jones Road.
You need to do just a little bit of research on that and bring that to us formally. That's not an easy thing to do.
I'll just change the sign from 45 to 35.
Yeah. You have to go through DOT and a whole lot of things, but if you'll come by town hall one day next week or this week, and then they can kind of give you the particulars on what you have to do to make that recommendation.
Oh, okay, sir, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? If not, we'll close the public forum at 6:55.
That's it.
At this time, planning department,
All right, so in your packet, I kind of messed up with the switching around the planning board meeting. So this is actually January's report, not December's. So up to this point, obviously. So there were not any zoning permits submitted. The Willis Crossing project is under review right now. There were a few concerns that got worked out, and so realized there'll be a special use permit that's needed. So that will be part of the application also. And with the zoning map amendments, of course, we heard the Jones Road tonight. And then Cole Road, the one that was recently annexed, is applying for a conditional use rezone, and that will be going to planning board next Monday. Disregard the first part of requesting a public hearing. We're gonna wait till planning board recommendation and then take it from there, come back and request a public hearing after that. And meetings, of course, we had our joint work session on the future land use map and UDO items. And then the following day, we met with we met the town manager, Clayton, planning manager, and planning manager of Garner also, and a couple of the Triangle J representatives and executive director, and just kind of talking through some process issues with the UDO and just getting some advice on how to work through some things. So that was really productive. And then planning board meeting will be next Monday.
Any questions for Ms. Valerie?
Go ahead, you have a question?
How many special use permits can you get on a piece of property?
Well, you can get one, well, I guess it depends if they were different uses.
No,
In this
depends.
case,
How many can you get if you had a piece of property, you wanted to do something with it, and you didn't do it within a certain length of time? Can you go back and get a special use permit? Another one.
yes, if you let
You
the
can get
time
them over and
expire,
over and over.
you can try over and over.
You say try what can be done or what?
Try, like if,
You all have to approve it.
Okay,
so if the time expired, even if it was approved and they didn't do the work or whatever use they were going to do within right now it's 6 months. Within 6 months and it expired, then yes, they can come back and ask for the same thing again.
But the council would have to approve.
Yes.
And the Cole Road project's gonna be on Monday night's agenda with the planning board.
Yeah, and they're coming in two parts. So even though it's a conditional use
Have they changed
rezoning,
anything from what they had to start with?
nothing's been changed
Yes.
yet. So they're trying to come in with just the rezoning application for the conditional use. But part 2 of any conditional use rezone is a special use permit. But they're opting to wait and see how Monday goes before they have a solidified sketch plan.
You know, the little word but almost as dangerous as the little word if.
this is true.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
It's been suggested that in view of the fact that my request that we don't have on our agenda a slot for new business. So this was suggested that I bring this up in the planning session. I would like personally to see us move from the back burner to the front burner, the new town hall project. I don't have any plans. I've seen your plans. I like it, the one that you drew out. I like that. I see that our property next door is not gonna be big enough. So rather than get into a long, involved discussion tonight, I would like to see that perhaps we put together a planning committee, if you will. I don't know the people around here that have property. I don't know what's for sale. We need to have somebody on there that's been around for a long time and knows the folks, and we just need to have something done with a new interstate coming through. This building is falling apart. The infrastructure is horrible. We're having to buy partitions to make a new office. Within the next few years, we're gonna have, it's been estimated between 4 and 5 new employees within the next 4 to 5 years. We need to do something, and I think the sooner we do it, the better we'll be. We have new residents coming in on the parish property sooner than any place else right now. They come down here to see the chief. They come down here to see Leanna or Valerie or anything else. They're coming into a 150-year-old building. I like history too. but it's not functional history, I think, at this point. And I would like to see us move that to the front burner and do whatever we need to do. I'm not talking about an expenditure of funds right now or applications for loans or grants or anything else like that. Just saying, let's go ahead and get a plan in place. And that takes a committee. I'm not big on committees, but I think we need to do something like that.
Well, I think that goes hand in hand, and we've discussed it before. I think we need to, first order of business is to establish a strategic plan to move forward with the towns today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and what we'd like to include in that. And I think that's probably the top subject on the agenda for that
Well, I
meeting.
think we are, Mayor, moving forward with that right now, and we're doing very well between that and the planning board. We're moving forward. We've had meetings, we've got maps. But I don't think that's prohibiting us from going ahead simultaneously with basic plans for a new town hall.
I don't have a problem with that. I just think they go hand in hand, but anyway, the
Well, I
board
agree.
chooses to do, that
I
certainly
agree.
can be addressed.
I just don't want to wait for one to be completed before we start the next. We can do these things together.
I
How do
agree.
y'all feel about that? I mean,
There's no doubt we're going to have a,
We already need it.
yeah, we need it now. We
Yeah.
don't have enough room. We can't accommodate 20 people. If we had 20 total people in here, we couldn't accommodate. And you need to be able to accommodate much more than that. So I totally agree with you that the planning needs to start.
Definitely does.
and how do we do it rather than just saying it needs it and move on?
We have a special session and sit down and talk about it.
Very good.
Have you seen Smithfield's town hall?
No, actually, no. I went over to Pine Level and looked at theirs. I've seen a few others.
Smithfield's got a nice one. They got a one board room. I've been over there in that one.
But budget wise, I think, and I'll certainly go over and look at that. Budget wise, I think Pine Level is more along the lines of Wilson's Mills, and I'd like to go on a weekday and look through theirs to see what they've done and how much it costs them.
Yep, you can go there. They'll accept you there. Pine Level, Princeton, and Archie Lodge each have relatively new town halls, and they each have their own little segments that are pointed out. So it's a good thing to go do that.
I'll do that. I think we've decided, or not decided, but come to an agreement, at least Leanne and I have, that having TJ Cog look at grant, you know what I'm saying? I'm losing the word here. Grant options. There aren't a lot of grant options out there. I think so. We need to move forward with whatever we've got, and if
Golden
one
Leaf
comes down,
Foundation is the first one that comes
if
to
one
mind.
comes down the line, that's fine later on, but we need to work on it. So, yeah, I'll go and start looking at some of those. Everyone wants to go with me, that's fine too. But if we need to get a special session, I'm game.
Why don't we bring that up at the close of business and see if we can't establish a date that we could have a meeting that would be convenient for everybody to come.
I
We-
was planning to update you all on the, some more information that I received from COG about long-range planning, facilitating, so if you want to bring it up then, at the end, we can do
Yep.
that.
If you put that in your report, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie, the public hearing about the National Flood Insurance Program, can you fill us in on that, please?
Yeah, so we're requesting that a public hearing be called for February 18th. Essentially, we need to adopt the flood insurance rate maps and the Johnson County flood insurance study. So those combined from FEMA dated, they were by FEMA in June 20th. So we need to adopt those, and then basically I've been in correspondence with the state representative. Basically, before the town had submitted the application for the National Flood Insurance Program, but his advice at that time was to wait because it was a little bit before this June date. So wait until the new maps came out. So he said, basically, since all that's been done, there's just a few revisions, just some numbers I need to get And basically, once we adopt the maps and the study, our application package will be complete. And then I tried to get a time frame for how long before we'd be in the program, which essentially allows people to get flood insurance. But he said that was unknown with the government shutdown, but our application would be complete after the public hearing, and then we'd be eligible to be in the program.
So potentially we could have that ready for the next board meeting?
Yeah, so that's, well, and also with that is ordinance, floodplain ordinance, but they have state model ordinances that they recommend, so we're just gonna go with that. It's part of the UDO. You know, it was like an attachment, but it was never completed. So I'm working on getting that ordinance together, so bring the ordinance, the maps, and the study, and get all that taken care of in February.
And this will include the new amendments that were made to the 500-year floodplain changes.
That is. Mhm.
All right. Anyone else have any comment about that?
We're gonna
You
call
need to
for
vote
public
call.
hearing. Next,
Pardon me?
we're gonna call for public hearing next meeting.
I make a motion that we call for a public hearing for Monday, February the 18th, 2019 at 6:30 PM on the National Flood Insurance Program.
Councilman J.C. Triplett, call for a motion. Councilman Philip Wright, second, that we have that set for the February 18th meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. This time, Mayor Pro Tem Triplett will have the street report.
Uh, Matt called me today. He has written out the stuff that he's done over this last month. And then we have, which is all right there. So the thing that we need to look at is the work that we want to get done over there on Cardinal Glen. Over there, we have 3 bids. One from Cliff Sharp, one from Town and Country, and one from Creative Landscapes and Trees out of Smithville. I think we can all say that the Creative is a little bit too high for us. Matt talked with me about the other 2. He said both of them were good. He said that he had work done by Town and Country, but he also knows that the other guys are also good. I've talked with some of the other council members, and they say both of them are very good, would be very good to do this work. So I would like to make a motion that we go with the low bid, which is Cliff Sharp, to do the trimming of the trees and the other work, which is they're gonna grind the stumps and then they're gonna clean up and everything, sow seed. And the price that they gave us was $4,650, which was the low bid. I make a motion that we accept the bid from Cliff Sharp. I think he calls it Sharp Cuts Landscaping.
Okay, we have a motion before us to accept Cliff Sharp's bid to do the trimming on the trees on the 2 streets that are mentioned. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Johnny Eason has seconded. All in favor?
Other question?
Yes, sir.
Question.
I have not been down. I think I know where that is, but obviously just trimming some limbs is not going to suffice.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm getting everybody shaking their heads. I'm ready for the vote. We don't need to
No,
talk
we
about it.
looked at that, and it's a traffic problem if we don't clean this out.
You've actually got 20-foot pine trees in our right of way that need to be taken down.
And we've got kids that could possibly walk right out in front of.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
That's it for me.
Okay, Councilman Wright, events report.
You have in your package your Silver Stars carrying on for the month of December and first week in January. They played bingo, had lunch for Pizza Hut, and celebrated Christmas with a potluck lunch. Then National Puzzle Week for a month with crossword puzzles, set puzzles, brain teasers, snow activities in January 16th. Making keychains and snowman bingo. Event board is met last week before anyway, and started the plans for the egg extravaganza coming up this year, and they have put some events in it. They are having a bounce house and a few other items out there for the children and so forth, and egg hunts and I don't know, well, we're gonna be selling lunch out of that, pizza and so forth for lunch. And the community park update, it's been a back burner thing. A couple months ago, I asked about a couple guys to help put it back together. And I was reminded that the fence and the swings were in our budget and we were getting close and so forth. So we got the swings and the fenced up and swings on the way. And the best I could figure, we still got about $4,500 in the budget. So my plan is to try to get things back together before next council meeting and be ready for spring.
What's the latest on the fields, Philip? I know they've been out there
On the what?
on the field.
JC, I can't tell you. I called Ted and he hadn't returned the call. I know they're not working the last week or more.
Well, I understand it's been really wet out there.
Well, yeah, that's true too, but, they just come to a stop.
Okay,
I guess they maybe had somewhere else to move to or something, but they didn't move their equipment.
Have you seen anything to H&H about drawing the sewage to that area? Putting sewage to the park through H&H?
No, you talking about the development right next to it? No, I haven't. I don't even know. I never spoke to any of them. But that's the thought, that we could run the sewer down.
Yeah, they were talking about doing it.
Huh?
They were talking about running the sewage down it for us.
Extending to the park?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, they're gonna be right at the park. We just got to
Yeah.
run over to it.
They have a sewer on the houses back at the park almost.
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, why would they,
tying into the line?
out of curiosity, why would a builder do that for us?
Well,
Being a
Yeah,
neighbor.
really just,
I'd like to think it's being a good neighbor, but I know builders like you do, so I want to
Yeah.
ask.
they told me that they were gonna run the sewage to the park.
At no charge.
Yeah, because they got it hooked to our sewage line.
they're gonna hook into the manhole that they put on Powhatan Road.
Right.
Or a bunch
That's
of them.
correct.
They gonna pump it into it, yeah.
Um,
I'll talk to them more about it.
Where do you see them at?
great.
Hmm?
I think that would be great.
Where do you see them at, Johnny?
Huh?
Where do you see H&H at?
I'll
Okay.
call him. I got the board's number now.
Oh, okay.
If you do that and give us a report, we'll go from there. How's that?
I'll talk to him.
I do have a question about the park. I'm assuming there is a name for the park. Isn't it about time we put up a sign?
It is about time, and we had a developer that, was gonna give us some money for that, so, Valerie left. I mean, as far as I know, we have always called it the Wilson's Mills Community Park, so unless somebody
I thought-
wants anything different.
I thought we had in a meeting that we came up with a name for that.
Wilson Mills Athletic.
Wilson's Mills
I thought we came up with
Community
the,
Park,
it was
yeah.
gonna be called the Wilson Mills Athletic Complex.
There's
I
a
mean,
sign
I'm just
out there.
going back to what I thought.
What's wrong with the simple?
The sign
Public
that was
park.
out there
I
was
don't
just.
care, I mean, I just
future
remember
home
that as something that
so-
came, that
and it
come
was-
up before.
Kind of falling apart, so we took it down.
Took it down.
Yeah, the wood was,
It's
we've been out there for like 3
Feeding
years,
off.
so.
to me, the word community park is more welcoming than athletic park.
Well, I think,
I agree, I agree, I just remember
Yeah.
about three years ago or something, we talked
since we're
about.
trying to address committees, I think that's something we ought to put together real quick and have a committee assigned to, if that's the name, establish the name, and then some kind of design for the sign, because I think that needs to be done, and it needs to be done very tactfully so that it will represent our community well. It doesn't need to be just a painted sign, I don't think.
I've been out there. The fence looks nice. You got to get your sign above the fence though.
Correct. So anybody like to volunteer to be on that committee?
Take TJ Cog away from me and I'd be happy to.
I'll help, Philip should be in charge of that committee, but I'll be glad to help, to be on it.
Anybody else? I'd be happy to volunteer and do that myself. So Philip, we'll get together and decide on a date to meet and talk about it
Fine with
and get
me.
in touch with each other and go from there.
Before we go off the park, is what's in the plans right now for the seesaws before it gets to be park season, if you will? I was over there yesterday and they're kind of off at different angles and.
Replace them with some metal ones.
Hey, have you got any metal ones that are carry 600 pounds?
No, but they sell
Do it?
them.
Well, I haven't seen any online, but that's what you need. I think 300 pounds on each end of it, at least. They're
Right.
bigger than I was.
Well, we can put that on the agenda too. That needs to be addressed. Either take them down or put up some really good ones that will hold up, as you say, abusive size.
And where, I see you mentioned in there, possible dog park at the park, the dog park area. Where are you looking at when they're in the park? So, any ideas?
I ain't got a thing to do with that.
I saw it
Keep
somewhere.
the dog at home.
You need
Did I-
that.
Oh, I know where I saw it on Matt's report that he was researching that. Is there any, that's what forget it over here, let me go over here. He
No,
said he
you
was,
Put, dog, the pet,
A pet area.
station.
yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Does he have an
Yes.
idea as to where he'd like to see that or where we'd like to see
I
it?
didn't know we were talking about a dog park. He was talking
No,
about
not dog park. I
cleanup
take
station.
that back. It's right down.
Cleanup station.
Yeah, research dog waste station for the park. So it's just a
It's-
station to put it all in.
And you're gonna need to put bags out there if you ain't already.
That's right.
That's what
That's
it
part
is.
of, that's what that is. It's trash cans and bags for
But-
people to clean up their dog's business.
But you really need to enforce it because a lot of people's not gonna do it.
You're right about that.
They're
And if
not
you don't
gonna do
enforce it, you're gonna have to do away with the dogs, period.
True. Okay.
That would be
I say
I'm
appreciated.
done.
I walk my dogs, and I always have bags and everything, but what I can understand, some people pick up the poop in the bag and throw the bag then. And that doesn't make no sense. either, you know, I
You're
mean,
right.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of things people do does not make
Uh-huh.
political sense.
Yes.
That area of the park will be handled the same way that litter and everything else is handled.
Well, litter
It's
is
gonna have
very
to be, everybody looking out for it and not, it can't just be on one person. It's gotta be the police department, somebody else goes by and they see piece of trash laying on the ground, like I did when I was up there the other day, bend over, pick it up, and put in the trash can. I
And
mean,
we've got to
people are
put-
gonna be people, so.
when we put that sign up, I suggest that we go ahead and put a sign up with the rules.
There is a sign with the rules at the park.
And a penalty.
Yeah. You talking about for pets specifically?
For park rules in general.
Yeah. It's, the weapons sign and the park rule sign is up on it.
And I can't remember if that includes the dogs or not. I don't think it does it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It's a
All
public
right.
area, so
Yeah.
it would be,
We will address those things. Yes, sir.
Just want to say, I know y'all thought about it. Saying welcoming, make sure handicap. Make sure adult handicap and children, even if it's a small spot. Then you open yourself up to more fun.
It's already handicapped.
Yeah.
Even the,
Well, I don't know what you've done, I'm just saying, make sure.
Everything that we've done out there has been with
Handicap
ADA in
accessible.
mind.
Yeah,
Good idea.
That's excellent.
Okay, Councilman Johnny Easton, sewer report.
We've been making plenty of progress. We're up at Coriander. We'll finish up there hopefully this week. They're up on Wilson Mills Road, going into Poplar Creek. We're boring under the road over here at Fire Department Road, but we've done the same thing this month as we did last. We hit a rock. So we got the guys out of Butler's coming back down in the morning. They can, in fact, they brought the equipment back down today. They're gonna try to finish it up, try to bore that rock if they can. If they can't, you're gonna have to blow it. Then we've got a railroad crossing at 103. We've got the bore under it, it's 160 foot. We got a railroad crossing over at the mill, it's 210 foot. We got to bore that one. And basically, that will finish that part up. Now, we had a problem over at Piretown Road. The north section that we added and the south section we added, we had to quit there because it hadn't been approved by FDA, USDA. We need to, everything's been submitted to them, but they went on furlough right after it was submitted to them. So we're waiting on them to come back and approve it, and we'll go back and do that. But we're hoping to get all that stuff out pretty quick.
And percentage of completion at this point.
I talked to the inspector today, and he said we like 5,000 feet having the total unit in, except Swift Creek Road. And there's probably 2,000 feet on Swift Creek Road, but that's gonna be a separate thing than the first one. We got to get the easements from the church and from Alan Wellens.
That was either, do you want me to discuss that now, or do you want me to discuss that with the
I
town
think we got a
administrator?
closed session on it.
Yeah, we're gonna have a closed session. We can handle most of that in the closed session, but the main thing is we got a new map from the engineers the other day. We're working on that. We've made offers that are reflected in that resolution to those property owners, and I can discuss the maps and everything in the closed session if that's best.
That's when it needs to happen. Okay, any other questions in regard to the sewer project? Thank you, Johnny. You've been very helpful.
I have the sewer, will it be extended down into Renee Drive?
It went into Renee Drive and made a left at the first intersection. No, that's Sharon.
That Sharon.
Went up Sharon and made a
And it
left,
made a left,
but you're talking about going straight
Going
and go back over.
and then down Renee.
We had that in it to start with, but due to the cost, we had to take a section out. And the reason for the cost was because we've got to put a pumping station there. And the pumping station is about $800,000.
So does that mean Renee Drive will not?
We won't do it right now, but there's nothing to say that we're not gonna do it in the future.
How far down the future are we talking?
Now that I can't tell you. I'd love to do it now, get it all over with. But funding
Well,
has
and we've
got a
already
lot.
paid.
Yeah, I know
to have
that.
done.
Mhm. And once we get the project through, if the people, I don't know how we're gonna handle it up in the office, but I would imagine they're gonna get refunds. But then if we come up with another project, it might be different. We might do something different.
The reason that we're waiting on the refunds for any of the ones that may have been taken out of the project is because if there's any money left over at the end of the project, then we may be able to do a street or two here or there. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna be the case with Renee Drive because of the elevation and the need for a pump station, and that's way more than we're gonna have left over, so.
I wonder why nobody was notified. Or
Well,
why
we're
we
waiting
weren't
until the end of the project to
Yeah,
know
we're
what
waiting,
we may
yeah.
have
And
finished.
I think y'all got a large field back there where you pump into a large field. That's where your pumping stuff is. Do you know if there's shrubbery growing up in that field, trees and stuff?
You've been back there.
What's the question again?
Do you know if there's trees growing up in that septic field?
The septic,
Yes,
There is.
yes,
What are they, about 10, 15 foot tall?
at least, yeah, it's pretty thick.
pretty wooded.
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah. That's something that the town needs to look at as
I'm
far
sorry,
as,
what's your name?
McKay, Deanne McKay.
McKay?
We're at 118 Renee.
the town might need to look at that and clear those trees out. And that'll give them a more lengthy time on the field being there. And they will probably won't have problems with their septic systems if you clear that.
Whose property is the septic?
It's, I imagine it's in the city limits. I don't know if it belongs to the town or not. You have to get Chad to look that up.
Is it somebody's personal property then?
No, is it personal property?
Yes, it is. It's deeded to ever who owns the
Ever who
septic
owns the
fields.
property?
Their
Yeah.
septic fields is deeded to their property. It's two different pieces of land, but it is deeded that
I know
way.
they pump it from the house to that field.
Yes, but it is deeded to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
The property owner would have to.
Yeah, it'd be up to the property owner to take the trees out.
Yeah.
Don't let it grow up. That would be a no-no.
You know, if
Septic lines
it
would be a
grows
mess.
up, it's, the roots in it is going to take care of all your distribution.
It's already grown up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been here 3 years,
3. Yes, sir.
so.
Johnny, it sounds like I'm part of that because that's right behind me, I guess.
Yeah, you're down the road a little
Right,
bit.
yeah, we're down, but that's why I'm not getting, I don't have a problem with not getting, I don't have a problem. But I don't wanna be left out of the loop, cause I don't want a refund.
Well, we're gonna,
I wanna stay in it.
as soon as we get this project over with.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna start looking for more funding.
I got you.
At least I am. We'll start looking for more funding to see what else we can do. And this is gonna be one of the projects like the first one was, to where it is very badly needed to put that pumping station in and to pump it right into the other line. So
I understand.
we're gonna look into it just as soon as we get the project we got
I
started.
don't have a problem with it. I'm fine. I just like to know when I'm gone, my family got out.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm concerned about. I don't have a problem. I wanna live, see it.
Your niece still lives on the corner of Fire Department Road and High Town. She got a hookup there.
You gotta ask her out.
I think she did.
I told her to, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm fine with it. Don't even come tell me anything until you know the answers. I'm not even worried about that.
Well,
Trust me.
I wanted to get one
Yeah.
project over, but we got the grant over to start with, and then we went to the USDA, but we need to get everything complete, and then we'll go on from there.
Thank you.
So
All
maybe-
right.
It may be a year down the road before we get.
Or even.
I would say that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just check.
Thank you very much for everybody's input. Dave McGowan, police report.
I defer to Chief Williams.
December was a very busy month. We had 4 WMPD officers participated in our annual Christmas parade on December the 2nd, 2018. In addition, we had 4 officers from Four Oaks and Kenley also assisted. We in turn provided 2 officers to each of their parades at Four Oaks and the Kenley Christmas parade. On December the 20th and 21st, we had members of the Wilson's Mills Police Department and employees from the town of Wilson's Mills who worked in a collaborative effort to provide Christmas gifts to some needy families in the community. We sponsored 3 families providing toys, gifts, household items, and the holiday cheer. The gifts were the result of monetary donations from those in the community and gifts from those in the community also. A total of 7 children aged 6 months to 10 years old and 5 adults all received gifts. In September, a sexual assault case that we had been working on for some time was officially closed. There was no prosecution for a variety of reasons after our investigation.
and the Johnson County DA's office, they concurred with our findings on it. On December the 3rd, there was a traffic accident in Johnston Farms that led to some assaultive behavior by 2 juvenile females. The assault was captured and posted online. As a result of that, 2 arrests were made. There were several notable items that were purchased during the month of December by the department. Outer rain gear for our full-time officers, and also some 511 rain-resistant jackets for our full-time officers. There were also multiple items that were procured for free from a federal surplus agency by Lieutenant Billy Hilliard and Debbie Hilliard. There were 5 digital cameras, 4 external flash, chemical storage lockers, small locker, 4 chairs, and some boxes of tourniquet cases. Overall, the holiday season was pretty unremarkable, as no major criminal activity was reported. There were no reported break-ins at all. We only had 1 misdemeanor larceny during this period of time. There's also been some things going on here recently. I'll go ahead and say it now, and it'll probably show up in next month's report of things that's been actively going on. Currently, we have 2 missing person investigations that are going on. One is a juvenile that's been recurring over and over. He's missing, but then he's found. And also, there's a 29-year-old female who's been missing since January the 4th. That's going to go up on the JOCO report probably tomorrow with an all points bulletin, basically looking for her. And as we all heard about the shooting on Saturday, a 68-year-old male was arrested by the sheriff's department off of Johnson Farm, off of Fire Department Road. There was some concern from some public people in the community about some of the notifications during that time of the manhunt, fugitive manhunt for the individual. We're going to look at that and see if it's something we could do better. But mostly, in large, it was a Johnston County Sheriff's Department operation. It did not occur in the city limits of Wilson's Mills. But we're going to look at it and see if there's something we can do a little bit better in the future. Also, Mr. Councilman McGowan and his wife have been volunteering their time to do volunteer cleanup, garbage pickup along the roads of Wilson's Mills. We're also trying to work with the Department of Community Corrections and trying to get some individuals who to do their community service and see if we can't come up with some kind of collaborative effort to help Mr. McGowan and get back and try to make the community a cleaner place. As for the numbers for this month or December, we had 8 vehicle accident wreck investigations. We had 6 domestic dispute incidents, 6 disabled motorists. We served or attempted to serve 12 different warrants. 27 warnings were issued, 9 citations, 5 arrests were made. We had 2 funeral escorts. We had 33 vehicle stops, 2 animal complaint calls, 4 alarm calls, 8 suspicious person or vehicle calls, and 13 calls where we assisted LEOs or ambulance or EMS type calls. In addition, we had 929 neighborhood checks. That's where we go through the neighborhood monitoring, and each one is counted as a check. We go through the various neighborhoods and subdivisions. 93 church checks, and business and elementary school checks, 247 during this period.
Let me add a couple of quick things to that. On page 1, the assault that he was talking about, the traffic accident that led to assaultive behavior, where the chief says it was captured and posted online. That was not done by Wilson's Mills Police. That was citizens taking a video of it themselves and posting it online. So that tremendously helped the police. I just don't want you thinking that one of our officers was out there videotaping anything like that. The second thing is, the chief is correct, and the chief twisted my arm. I really didn't want to, but I know we need it, and we all talk about it, and nothing ever gets done about it. The chief's twisted my arm, and we're gonna start the community service program back up again. So once we get it going, which should be soon, there go my Saturdays for the next, how often it is, 8 hours. We're gonna go for 8 hours a day, every Saturday, weather allowing. So we're gonna go ahead and do that again. I've purchased through the town, the equipment that we need to do that, the grabbers, to keep many people out of the ditches as possible. I also got from NC DOT up the road, I got all the vests back, I got all the bags we need, I got everything. And to start it off, my wife and I did go out last Friday, and we spent 11 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon picking up trash on Sutherland. Obviously, because I live on Southern. I hate looking at it. Fire department's our next job, but I'm not gonna do it for another week or so, because literally I couldn't walk after that Friday. My back is not in the best shape anyway, and getting down in the ditches does not help. So it was tough, but we did it, and we did it from fire department all the way to Vincent. We're gonna finish up Vincent, then we're gonna hit fire department. It's been a year and a half now since any trash has been picked up. We did 12 bags in that short stretch. I can imagine what we're gonna do on fire department. So we need to get the program going. Chief and I are gonna go over and sit down and talk with the Department of Juvenile Services. And we're gonna lay it on the line, what we need to do and what we want them to send to us. And we'll hit these streets. They won't all get done at one time, but they'll be done, and they'll be done right. They'll be done a lot like they were last time when I did it before I was sitting up here. And I think we did it the right way then. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Judge Addie Rawls could be a lot of assistance.
Yeah, well, underneath Judge Addie Rawls are two ladies, Miss Johnson, I think it is, and Miss Ocean Carter. And Miss Ocean Carter seems to be the one that helps us. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes.
Yeah. And we need to go over and sit down and talk with her. Okay, so we'll get this done. But you're right. If you see her, let her know from your point of view that we're gonna start it up again, and maybe it'll all come both ways and it'll get going. Okay? So we'll work on it, but that's it. Thank you.
Good job. Councilman Randy Jernigan, maintenance.
Matt is working on the speed limit signs for Ives Landing. They came in, like you said, he called me today, and they came in last week and did the locates. So now he can actually get around and start doing the, putting them up. That's all the other thing I have right now. And going back, tonight's meeting, we've got 20, 30 people in here. We don't have a room for them. We've got to get a bigger town hall. We can't keep putting it on the back burner. We've done that since I've been on board. And tonight, every meeting night gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we have nowhere to put people. So
we also have a lot more people watching.
Yeah.
Previously, we've had maybe 3, 4 at the most. Tonight, it's not overboard, but we've got, I think it's 7 or 8 that are home watching. So it's growing to where it's getting out.
And it's going to keep growing.
Absolutely.
Good job.
What are you watching?
I'll tell you at the end of the meeting, man.
Ms. Hudson, financial report, please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Mayor Ozol, you have the expenditure and revenue report for December 2018. Everything seems to be going on track, and
Okay, anybody have any questions in regard to the financial report that you have? If not, we'll move to the town administrator's report.
In your packet, you had a resolution for the sewer easements needed for the new portion over at Spruce Creek Road. And then,
this morning, actually it may have been Friday, I was off Friday, but this morning I had an email from the attorney that there were some revisions based on the map they received, so if Dad wanted to update you on that. You did get a copy of the updated resolution at your place at the table tonight, so if you need to go over those changes. Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, basically, this is just, as I mentioned, there's a revised map that we got last week. Let me get the right page here. The location of this line now is from Swift Creek Road through the edge of where the cemetery is and down to a point where there's a manhole near the creek. And basically, we have the, you can see the amounts on this resolution. This is at the 25 cent per square foot cost that was initially used for the USDA project. And that's, I think that's all right there. Basically, we can discuss further in the closed session the details with the map, but the key part is that it's further north than it originally was. It was down closer to Highway 70 earlier, and now it's further north up that same road, up Swift Creek Road. So.
And Mr. Anderson, I'm just making sure I understood, Mr. Anderson, the other Mr. Anderson. This resolution that you have in front of you tonight needs to be approved regardless of conversation about any other easements we may need to work with.
Yeah,
So
basically.
this part can be approved now, and then, in closed session, you're gonna talk about some other issues.
This is giving him permission to buy the easement.
So this would need to go ahead and be approved now,
Yeah,
and
yes.
then there will be more conversation about some other parts of it in closed session.
Okay, so do I hear a motion that we approve the resolution to acquire these two easements for the sewer project?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilman Johnny Eason. Do I hear a second? Second by Councilman Philip Wright. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Anderson, if you move forward
Yes. We
with
can
this
do that.
acquisition.
Yeah, and then the other step there is that at the end of the meeting, I want to make sure that somebody, one of the council members calls for that closed session under 143, 318, 11A3. So
Okay.
just want to put that reminder in.
Read those numbers down. Did you write them down?
Sir?
The numbers?
It's written on your, written on your.
Yeah.
It's
right here.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
Written right on your
Oh, it's on the
agenda.
agenda, gotcha.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I have on my Mayor, is just, I did want to update you because we've been talking the last couple of months about council's, need and desire to have some long-range planning and a facilitator to help with that. Somebody from the outside who can come in and talk with you about some long-range plans for the town because of our growth and economic development. And talk with the people at the League of Municipalities, and they are not doing that yet, but they've been looking at getting into the business of facilitating for different council members. The one person that we had kind of hoped would be able to help us out, Rob Shepherd from the League, is not gonna be available to do it anytime before the budget, and I feel like this is something that you need to do going into the budget. But I have talked with a retired League member, which is Madeline Henley, and some of you have been on the board for a while, may remember her from years and years ago. But she retired from the League of Municipalities, and she does this as a business on her own now. And she has offered to come and, not offered, but offered her services to come and help us maybe with a couple of meetings. But one of the things that she wanted to be sure that y'all were aware of, that, you know, it's not free, and this is not anything that's gonna be cheap, but it's not gonna be crazy expensive, but it's not anything that we've budgeted for this year. So I would say having somebody like that here with y'all for a day, maybe two, would run somewhere between 3,500 to 4,000. Now that is top. That's top, like somebody who's doing it as a private business. I talked with Lee from the Council of Governments after we had a planning meeting. The planning director and I met with Garner and Clayton last week. And they feel like that there's a lot of things that they can do to help us with that. They don't have a facilitator on staff, but they've also got some retired people who may offer to come in and help work through a couple of meetings. So one of the things that we talked about was maybe immediately calling a special meeting to start looking at things such as a new town hall. And if that is something that you're looking at doing, you could even add something about making sure we get the name of the park out there. So we're, getting things like that set in stone, but then just going over some of your long range wishes. Like what is it that you want to plan for on a long range basis? And then hopefully in the next couple of months, getting a facilitator in here to help you nail down exactly what you feel like you need to do this coming budget year, because you're not going to be able to do everything you want to do in one budget year. Even if you get grants for a town hall, there's so many other aspects of things that are going on here that, within the next 5 years, looking at a whole new department for utilities. And so getting some of those things, just kind of like we do at our first budget session, where we say that's our wish meeting, where you put everything on the table that you absolutely want to do, whether you think it's feasible or not, so that we've got something to work with and we can kind of scale down from there. Well, that's kind of the way this works, except it's on a bigger scale. So you're just putting everything out there that you've ever thought about as far as the town's growth and things that are going to be going on in the next 5 to 10 years. But I will say that after this first meeting or a meeting with a facilitator and this budget is through, one of the things that you're definitely going to need to look at next year is going to need to be our comprehensive plan. And I don't feel like that's anything we can afford this coming year, but for the next year, once we get the sewer project up and running and the first portion of it finished up, that's something that we're going to need to look at. And if those of you who were here before remember, that first one that we had done was about $25,000. And that's been over 10 years ago. So it's going to be upwards of that to get that redone and get it done correctly. That's not something that you just form a committee and redo the one that you have. That's something that needs to be done by somebody such as the Department of Commerce, which they work really well with towns and help out with that, but it's definitely something, because you have to look at every piece of infrastructure on that, and it affects grants. There's information in that such as demographics and utilities and what they're going to be 10 years down the road, even though the county's doing some of this for us right now. So there's just a lot to look at, and I feel like going ahead and calling a special meeting, say for next month, to just bring some of these things to just throw out on the table, and we'll make a big list for a facilitator to maybe come in March and April, and then start jumping into the budget and seeing what needs to be here, what needs to be next year, kind of do like a 5-year plan.
I think we definitely need to move forward with that.
I don't know if you all know what your schedule is, but we can definitely look at some dates in February. It's looking like the week before the council meeting would probably be best for us here at Town Hall. And that would be the week of February the 11th. Doesn't have to be on the 11th, but just sometimes that week. And I don't, if you still want to do it in the evenings, or if early afternoon or late afternoon, early evening would be better with your work schedules. I know Mr. Triplett, Mr. Jernigan have to look at their work schedules.
And Leanna, after this, before we close the meeting, I want to go back to the resolution really quickly. I just have one little admin.
Anybody have any problems with any time the week of the 11th?
I have to look at my schedule, but I feel to be able to do something. I'd like for it to be around 2:30 to 3 in the afternoon.
What does that look for you like, Randy, on the 11th?
I'm working that day, so the only 2 days I've got clear that week is 13th to 14th.
13th is a Wednesday, and the 14th is Valentine's Day. I
Valentine.
don't know if that matters to anybody, but if you're looking at like 2:30 or 3, it probably wouldn't be an issue if you did it on the 14th. But
That's fine either day.
The
At that time.
13th's not, I can't do the 13th. I can do the 14th
I'm game. Either one, doesn't bother me.
14th,
unless something happens,
and Philip,
unless.
It appears to me.
We
Got
got
my-
my.
Johnny,
I'm just looking at my wife.
14th at 2:30?
14th at 2:30.
14th.
Okay, and this will be, again, just if you want to go ahead and call it now, and in your motion, just state that it's for some pre-long range planning and discussion about town hall.
Okay,
But I would need a motion for you to go ahead and call that way, kind of need some advertising requirements.
I hear a motion.
I make a motion that we have a meeting on long range planning on February the 14th at 2:30.
Motion's been made by Councilman J.C. Triplett. Do I hear a second? Second by Councilman Randy Jernigan. All in favor? Ayes have it. We'll have that at 2:30. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, unless there's some additional business to be discussed, we will go over.
I've got one, yeah. I just noticed, I apologize for the error here, but in the resolution, the amount for the Robertson Wellens property, the permanent easement square footage is listed as 7,002 square feet. And I was double checking it with the map. It should be 7,092 square feet. It only changes the price of the easement by $22.50, but I wanted to go ahead and try to get that authorized in this, so there wasn't any kind of needing to change it later. So that amount, if you go to the second page there, the correct permanent easement amount is 7,092, so 7092. And the correct permanent easement total compensation amount is 1,773.00.
I make a motion that we go into closed session per North Carolina GS 143.318.11A3.
Motion's been made to go into closed session by Councilman Triplett, second by Councilman Wright. All in favor? Thank you all for coming. Please come back.